Hey everyone, meet Kevin here. Wow, we are streaming in front of an original Tesla Roadster, and Elon Musk will be on Clubhouse streaming something at 10 p.m. tonight, which is in about 3 minutes. I'm really excited. The notification on Clubhouse has not come through yet, so I have no idea what he's going to talk about. We can speculate as to what he's going to talk about. Personally, I'm hoping some game stonks and some Bitcoin, but we will see. I have to say, the audio is a little low. Thank you. Yeah, please give me feedback. This is my first time really streaming in the set. I will fix that. And I'm pretty nervous because I haven't used this set. So let's see. There we go. How does that sound for audio? And we will have Clubhouse open in a minute. There we go. You're a little quiet. It is going to be only audio, but I'll be here. Is my sound better now? That's good. All right. Good. So let's see here. Cool. Louder the better. Okay, perfect. Join the room in progress. Good. Oh, wow. Okay, that's not good. Hold on, let's go. Let's go. Oh, here we go. Hold on. Let's make sure we get in. Let's see here. So it's loading. It says it's joining. Let's see here. Oops. Okay, so we're in Clubhouse here. Join the room in progress. There we go. Okay, it's pending. Okay. So oh, wow, that's not good. It actually yeah, we are in the garage. Okay, that is potentially unexpected here. So I have Clubhouse up, but apparently the room's not available to be joined right now. Does anybody have this on Clubhouse? A potential issue because right now I'm clicking join Clubhouse, and apparently there is a limit to the amount of people who can actually be in Clubhouse. This is my first time using Clubhouse, so this is a little bit of an issue. And these are old headphones, not the new ones, but I'm a little disappointed at the moment. Sorry, give me a second here. It looks like, oh man, come on, join the room. Come on, Clubhouse. The servers are down, you said? Somebody says the Clubhouse servers are down. Okay. Well, what we'll do is we will wait until we can actually get into this. We will find a way to get in. Is MSN? No, sorry, servers are down, somebody's saying. Okay. Well, we'll keep trying to get in to this, but yeah, at the moment it doesn't look like. Let's see. Clubhouse. Okay. Yeah, I'm sweating. Sorry. Let's see here. Elon. I am really looking forward to Elon's talk. I just want to make sure I can get it up here for us. So let's see here. It's supposed to begin now, ish. Oh, here we go. It looks like somebody. Hold on. I might be able to have a solution here. One second. Let's see. We will get to the bottom of this. Elon Musk. Okay. It looks like everybody, and so far nobody's able to get in. Everybody's pending getting in. All right. Why'd they have to do it on Clubhouse then? Elon Musk is speaking on Clubhouse tonight. Well, we know that. We would like to get in. Literally everybody is pending getting in. I feel bad about that because I want to be in it, but we'll be in shortly, I'm sure. Yeah, these are not the new headphones yet. I promise there will be new ones. Oh, here we go. Okay, Elon Musk on good time. Let's see if it goes through now. Okay. Wow. This makes me a little disappointed in Clubhouse. I'll say that. Elon Musk, Clubhouse. But we will figure this out. Hold on. Okay. Does anybody have Is anybody in? Because I keep seeing multiple people saying that I'm in Clubhouse, but multiple people are saying they can't, that the servers are down or something. So we'll see here. I thought this would kind of be like a YouTube live stream where we could join. But we are waiting for this, so we will wait. Let's see here. Sorry, we're just waiting for this to begin. Okay. Let's see here. It looks like this might. Let me see if this works. Hold on one second.
Go over and back repeatedly.
Here we go.
The essential elements are you need a fully reusable, you need a fully and rapidly reusable rocket.
Okay. We in? I don't know.
Flights. It needs to be much like aircraft, where the cost of an air flight is the biggest component of that is fuel. You can't just be throwing rockets away every time.
Right.
And then you need to have orbital refilling, so where you can send the ship up to orbit, then send another ship up, dock with it, transfer propellant, so that you can load up to being almost full with propellant, and then go to Mars. If you've got a large, fully rapidly reusable rocket with orbital refilling that uses high efficiency, low cost propellant, then you can go to Mars. And then one last local propellant production. So you take CO2 out of the atmosphere, combine it with water, ice, H2O to create CH4, methane, and oxygen. And if you have those elements, life can become multiplanetary, and we can have a self-sustaining city on Mars, which I think is one of the most important things we could possibly do for ensuring the long-term existence of consciousness.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Sorry, Shreya, go for it.
Yeah, Elon, you've spoken about this often, which is expanding the scope of consciousness and how it is tied to multiplanetary life. Could you explain what that means for you and why that matters to you? Sure. Well, so originally I had sort of kind of an existential crisis when I was a kid, trying to figure out what's the meaning of life, why are we here, what's the point of it all, is it all meaningless? I got quite depressed, actually, and sad about it. And then the thing that kind of broke me out of it was reading Douglas Adams's Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, where he essentially pointed out that the universe is the answer, and really the hard part is figuring out what questions to ask about the answer that is the universe. Yeah, exactly. He was exactly trying to make fun of the fact that the answer is the easy part, but the questions are the hard part. So in order for us to gain a better understanding of what questions to ask, what it's all about, we have to increase the scope. We have to increase the scope and scale of consciousness. We're better able to figure out which questions to ask and answer them. So the longer, the broader in scope, larger in scale that consciousness is, the more likely we are to be able to answer these questions and figure out what the heck's going on. Why are we here? To answer the fundamental questions. And I think there's arguably a great filter that we face with, will we become a multi-planet species or not? We're surprised about there in our galaxy and others that there are a whole bunch of dead one-planet civilizations that prospered for a while. They might have prospered for millions of years, but then gradually the civilization collapsed for reasons external or internal, and that was that. All civilizations go through an arc where they go up in technology complexity, but then they don't keep going up. Over time they decline, they fall. And this has happened obviously with, if you're a student of history, with many civilizations in the past. can look at ancient Egypt. 5,000 years ago, there was the Great Pyramid at Giza, but then the people living there forgot how to build pyramids. After a while, how to read hieroglyphics. There's also, Gibbon's famous book about the decline and fall of the Roman Empire and how they had advanced technology in terms of roads, aqueducts, plumbing, and so forth, and then people forgot about it. The ancient Sumerians, Babylonians, all these things they've all gone through a similar arc, which suggests that most likely we will go through such an arc ourselves, and we'll be arguably less resilient to recovery because of globalization. So I think for the first time in the 4.5 billion year history of Earth, it's been possible to extend life beyond Earth and make life multiplanetary. And this window of opportunity may be open for a long time. I hope it is, or it may be open for a short time. And I think it would be wise for us to assume that it's open for a short time. I'm an optimist, not a pessimist, but you have to say, like, there's some chance it's only open for a short time, and we should take advantage of this brief window of opening where we can transport life to make life multiplanetary, and humanity is essentially the agent of life in this process. And I think we almost have an obligation to ensure that the creatures of Earth continue, even if there is a calamity on Earth, which, as I said, could be man-made or it could be some natural calamity. As if you look at the fossil record, there are many mass extinctions.
Yeah, I think all of it makes sense, and I think we've talked about this before. I think one other question I have is, when we get there, we have to set up the whole society, we have to set up civilization there. How will the whole thing work in your mind? Everything from what does it mean to have internet connection in Mars, all the way to like governments and rules and laws and everything.
You need satellite link everywhere. Yeah.
Happen. Just as they happen in the U.S. and happen in every country. And I would not presume to prescribe what should happen there. I think the important part is just that we get people there and we get the equipment necessary to establish a self-sustaining civilization. At least one self-sustaining city. And I think the key threshold of when we would pass the Great Filter, or this particular Great Filter, is Mars sufficiently self-sustaining such that if the ships stop coming from Earth for any reason, it could be something massive or something banal. I mean, civilization on Earth could end with a bang or a whimper. But either way, if the ships stop coming from Mars, does Mars die out or not? And Mars only has to be missing one little ingredient, like the equivalent of vitamin C, and it will survive for a while, but it will not. But it will eventually die out. So it's kind of getting a city on Mars to pass that critical threshold where it is self-sustaining. And are we able to do that before some calamity or a gradual decline in civilization occurs that prevents the ships from going there? That's the key threshold. In a more pithy way, is like, does the city on Mars become self-sustaining? Which comes first, a self-sustaining city on Mars or World War III?
Wow. What comes first, World War III or a self-sustaining city on Mars? Wow.
What would you consider success? Like, let's say they get through the first 5 years, the first 10 years. Like, what do you think is possible to build on Mars 10 years in, 20 years in, 30 years in after first arrival?
Well, I think Mars will start off being very, very tiny, just like a tiny little outpost. And by the way, it's going to be very dangerous. Sometimes people think, is this like some escape hatch for rich people? I'm like, no, it will be dangerous, hard work. It's going to be, you're out there on the frontier. There are far more ways to die there than there are on Earth. And a tremendous amount of hard work. But it will be, I think, fun and a great adventure. But it will not be a luxurious thing, that is for sure, not for quite some time to go. But we've got to build the propellant plant. We've got to build, get solar power going, get the food production going, start creating the necessities. We need an iron ore refinery. We need all of the sort of fundamentals of industry in order to make sure that Mars is a self-sustaining planet. I mean, over time, like this would take a while, but you can terraform the planet and make it Earth-like, mostly by just warming it up. So yeah.
So, as you talk about this, I mean, honestly, what comes to mind is sort of the idea that a Martian civilization, although obviously imported from Earth, it will quickly evolve to be quite a bit tougher by necessity. And just the mental images leaping in my mind is the Spartans in ancient Greece. Do you think the sort of vector of civilization will unfold differently as a consequence of how difficult it's going to be to get it going?
Yeah, it probably will. I think so.
So then maybe we don't just have a backup, right? Maybe we actually have an alternative, like and the ability to actually see two like fundamentally different civilizations flourish.
Yeah, absolutely. The fact that you can only go to Mars every 2 years and that it's a 6 month journey, although I think we can over time get that potentially as low as 1 month, but still, you can't go to Mars when Earth is on the other side of the sun from Mars, like the times where Mars is literally on the other side of the sun. You can't get no matter what you do. So that time gap would mean that there'd be essentially a new group of people arriving roughly 2 years. I don't know. I think it'd be interesting. People would probably trace their I came on this particular Earth Mars synchronization event. I don't know, but like I said, the important thing is that we've established Mars as a self-sustaining civilization, and that we have done whatever we can to ensure the long-term continuance of consciousness as we know it. Because so as far as we can tell, we're the only the light of consciousness, which is a delicate little candle in the dark. It's only here on Earth. I mean, it might be other places, and there's arguments that it's likely to be other places. But honestly, we have seen no sign of it, and I'm pretty sure that I would have known about it. And I've seen nothing to indicate that there's any alien civilization whatsoever. I'd be the first to jump on that in a second, but I've seen no such evidence.
Elon, that's actually something we wanted to ask you about, because in the last year, there has been multiple reported UFO sightings. There was the mysterious object that flew past our solar system. I think you just described that you haven't seen any evidence of aliens, but A, do you think we'll ever run into them? And B, if we do, have you heard of dark forest theory from the three-body problem? How do you think we should think about aliens?
Yeah, I'm trying to be strict in the scientific sense of the word, of saying I've seen not a single piece of conclusive evidence. So that doesn't mean there aren't aliens. I'm just literally saying I've seen nothing that could not be explained by other means, and where the probable explanation by other means is much more likely than this alien technology. So, and for people that say there's sightings of aliens, I'm like, listen, man, the resolution of the picture needs to be at least 7-Eleven ATM good, okay? We can't have that fuzzy Loch Ness monster bullshit, It's like, come on, we got is that like a 500 megapixel camera? What are you talking about? Where do you find that thing? It's gonna be at least like iPhone 6 level, is it? I don't know.
Can I ask one more Mars question?
Sure.
If that's okay for you. So Elon, you famously have a pile of really beautiful kids. And I know you care about them a great deal, as all parents do. What would your response be if they start coming to you when they turn 18 or 22 and they say, Dad, now that you've landed us on Mars and there's colony forming, I really want to go?
Yeah, I think.
Good question. I wouldn't go.
If we're talking about, say, the third or fourth set of landings on Mars, I think that'd probably be, I'd be okay with that. although I've followed them so far, and none of them say they want to go. So they may change their minds, but currently they're not chomping at the bit to go to Mars.
Okay, so some interesting. Elon, okay. So I think for folks who may not know this, I think we originally met over Twitter, and it's just safe to say, and I want to move on from Mars to memes. It is safe to say that you might be the master of the memes, and in fact, you had a quote: "Who controls the memes controls the universe." Could you just explain what you meant by that and how you became this person?
Well, it's a play on words from Dune. Who controls the spice controls the universe. And if memes are spice, then it's memes. There's a little bit of truth to it in that, like how do you what is it that influences the zeitgeist? Like how do things become interesting to people? And memes communication that's that like a picture says 1,000 words and maybe a meme says 10,000 words.
Nice.
It's a complex picture with a bunch of meaning in it, and it can be it's aspirationally funny. So it's I don't know. I love memes. That I think they can be very insightful. And throughout history, I think the symbolism in general has powerfully affected people. So
how did you get so good at them? I remember following you many years ago. Going from that to your sea shanties meme or any one of the memes, and some of it may not be safe for work here. How did you get so
We're
good?
told that
why do we have to be safe for work? Doesn't work.
Here's my pride and joy.
I know. Yeah. I don't know. I guess probably. If you go back to my very early tweets, technically I was on Twitter. I think in the very early days when there were only like maybe 10,000, less than 10,000 users. But then like people were just like tweeting like what kind of latte they had at the University Street Starbucks, and I was like, I don't need to know this. So then I deleted my Twitter account, and then a fake person who got my Twitter account had tweeted for a few years, and then my friend Lily said, hey, you really should be on Twitter so you can speak directly to people. So I was like, okay, I'll do. My friend Lily convinced me to regain my Twitter account, and my early tweets are pretty racy, like pretty like because I was reading this biography of Catherine the Great, so it's sort of things went crazy from there.
By the way, I like how you say that your early tweets were racy and not right now. I just like that.
Look at your
Well,
profile.
other people think like, oh, he's gone crazy on Twitter. I'm like, no, I started crazy on Twitter.
What's like your favorite set of new memes, Elon? Like what are the new things that you're following now with respect to memes or creating?
Sorry, what was that again?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask you, what are the new memes that you're like following or creating right now? What are the ones that are interesting to you right now?
Game stonk. Come on.
I don't really follow memes.
You just make them.
I think some of them, and then some of them are sent to me. I have some pretty kick-ass meme dealers.
Yeah.
Who's the meme dealer? Is this like somebody
in the back with a signal? Memes going at a good price.
Are there meme dealers on Mars? Wait.
You gotta have a good meme dealer.
There will be.
My friend Mike is a good meme dealer, and Claire as well, and Jake Al, and quite a few others actually. I fortunately am the lucky recipient of very interesting memes.
That's great. Today we're done. Slightly changing subjects a bit.
Yeah.
Just on Twitter, today you posted about Neuralink and why people should be working there. For
Yes.
folks who don't know about it, I thought it was really cool. Like, just the possibility of it is just really fantastic. Tell us more about it. There are a lot of engineers listening on this Clubhouse. What is Neuralink? Why should we care? What is possible with it?
Nice.
Sure. So, the long term. Okay, so Neuralink stems from a concern I had, where I was trying to figure out, even in a benign AI scenario, how do we at least go along for the ride? So, if for those that are following AI closely, it's obviously improving dramatically. If you see look say GPT-1 versus GPT-2 versus GPT-3, and just how radically that's improved. And just as deep minds, and I think they've run out of games to win at, basically. And there's just, and look, I said, at Tesla, an important thing to note I should make is Tesla actually has, I think, one of the strongest AI teams in the world, but it's AI team focused on real world usability. So just really solving vision, perception, and control with AI. But even in a benign scenario for AI, where let's say the AI is just really wants to be super nice to us and make us happy. Well, how do we stay relevant and still have meaning and at least go along for the ride?
Good point.
That's in the good scenario. And then in terms of avoiding the bad scenario, we can couple collective human will to the outcome of artificial intelligence and what's developed in that way. I think that'll probably be a better scenario than if we're unable to effectively couple collective human will to that outcome. So, the final. Now, sorry, but this is getting kind of esoteric, but we love it, keep going. Okay, so people are already a cyborg, in that you already have a tertiary digital layer. You've got your sort of limbic system, which is your primitive drives and desires and responses, and then you've got your cortex, which is like long-term planning and thinking. Those are two biological. There's a tertiary layer, a third layer, which is digital, and you already have that in the form of your phones and computers and all your applications.
So it's, at a certain point, the computer gets smart enough. It's like the computer's just like trying to talk to a tree. Trees do sort of talk, but they talk so slow that we don't notice. So we need to improve the bandwidth. And with a direct neural interface, we can improve the bandwidth between your cortex and your digital tertiary layer by many orders of magnitude. I'd say probably at least 1,000 or maybe 10,000 or more. And we could also spend a lot more time thinking about interesting things as opposed to taking complex thought structures, compressing them down into words, which is also, again, a very low bit rate, and then having someone else receive those words, decompress them, and then send words back at you. So a huge amount of our brain power spent in compression, decompression, and we could be instead spending it on deeper concepts. And so if you had a Neuralink, if two people had a Neuralink, you could do conceptual telepathy, where you have a complex series of concepts, and you could just transfer them directly, uncompressed, to the other person. This would massively improve the quality of communication and the speed of it. So, and there are other sort of pretty wild things that could be done. Like you could probably save state in the brain, and so if you were to die, your state could be returned either in the form of another human body or a robot body. I mean, this is getting like really into weird sci-fi stuff here.
This is great. This is basically like
it's
altered
awesome.
carbon, right? Like this is basically a plot line from altered carbon. Go on, love it.
Yeah.
We love
Yeah,
it.
it's kind of like altered carbon. Yeah, exactly. But I think you could decide you want to be a robot or a person or whatever.
Jeez.
And you wouldn't be exactly the same. So there'd be a little lost in transfer. But you can also say it's also arguably true that when you wake up in the morning, you're not exactly the same as yesterday. Or the you of a month ago is not the same as the you of today. a bunch of brain cells have died, and some memories have faded, some have strengthened, there are new memories. So anyway, the point is, like, you wouldn't be, there could be something analogous to a video game, like a saved game situation, where you are able to resume, upload your last state. Yeah, kind of like Altered Carbon. Maybe lose a few memories, but mostly be you. So now that's the long-term stuff. In the short term,
I wish you would talk about GameStop and Biden and Tesla.
brain injuries or spinal injuries, and make up for whatever lost capacity somebody has with an implanted chip. So the first thing that we're going after is a wireless implanted chip that would enable someone who is a quadriplegic or tetraplegic to control a computer or mouse or their phone or really any device just by thinking. And this obviously would be a massive enabler, make life way easier for them. There have been sort of primitive versions of this device, one done with like wires sticking out of your head, but it doesn't work all the time, and you can't take it home with you. So just having, basically, you think, like, in simplistic terms, I'd say it's sort of like a Fitbit in your skull with tiny wires that go to your brain. So Fitbit in your skull with tiny wires. So if somebody who's listening is good at designing like Fitbits, Apple Watches, phones, computers of various kinds, then actually they would be a great fit for Neuralink. So yeah, we'll probably be releasing some new videos showing progress maybe in a month or so, and because we already got like a monkey with a wireless implant in their skull and the tiny wires, who can play video games using his mind.
What?
And he's
totally really, that's amazing.
He looks totally normal and happy. So it does not look like an unhappy monkey, and you can't even see where the neural implant was put in, except for that he's got like a slight like dark mohawk.
It's not an unhappy monkey. Very important.
But other than that,
Slight
looks
one.
normal.
It's a small.
Yeah, it doesn't look. He's not uncomfortable, and he doesn't look weird. So we're oh, and I was like, when the USDA person came through and inspected our facilities, our monkey facilities, she said it was like the nicest monkey facilities she's ever seen in her entire career. Just FYI. We went the extra mile for the monkeys.
Well, as long as you didn't make them play Cyberpunk.
Oh,
that would be a hell of a trip for a monkey. But one of the things we're trying to figure out is like, can we have the monkeys play mind pong with each other? That would be pretty cool.
I have to say the pig demo was really fantastic. That was really cool.
Thanks. Yeah. Well, it's a great team at Neuralink and making good progress. And like I said, I want to be clear. Like, the early applications will really just be for people who've had a serious brain injury, like where it's like the value of the implant would be enormous, because obviously the early implants will come with some non-trivial risk, and so it's got to be like, okay, does the good far outweigh the bad, and then that would be a candidate for some of the initial surgeries with full disclosure of like these are the risks and everything. And one of the things we're really paying close attention to is the ability to remove the implant. So it's not like if somebody doesn't want it or it's not working, we can take it out and then we can reimplant another one. So we've tested implantation, removal, and reimplantation, and it works great.
Sorry, Mark.
Switching topic. Yeah. So switching topics. So Elon, as I mentioned kids earlier. As it turns out, I have a very bright and inquisitive 5-year-old who is crawling all over everything and trying to figure everything out and learning as much as he can as fast as he can. Like, what, with everything that we know now and kind of all the modern tools that we have, like, what's the best way to think about educating a 5-year-old in today's world?
I got a 5-year-old.
Sorry, the best way to educate a 5-year-old.
yeah, educate a 5-year-old and then think about kind of his education over the course of the next, 5 or 10 years. Like what kind of program ideally should you think a kid should be on?
Parenting advice. Okay.
My observation is my kids were mostly educated by YouTube and Reddit, and then
Yes.
and their, I guess, classmates and I guess there were lessons as well, but judging by the amount of time they spent online, it seemed like most of their education is actually coming from online. I mean, I think generally with education, you want to make it as interesting and exciting as possible. You have to say, like, what are some of the, like, if you see, like what are all the things, like, say, a good video game does to keep someone engaged and interested? If kids can be super engaged in video games, I think there's a way for them to be super engaged in education as well. Like, one of the things that's, I think, very fundamental is to explain the why of things. Like, so we're teaching you this, but we're going to explain why we're teaching you this and why it is relevant. I mean, we've evolved to forget things that are irrelevant or have low relevance probability. It makes sense. Like, otherwise we'd remember all sorts of nonsense things that weren't very important to our future. So unless relevance is established clearly, then people will have a hard time remembering it by its nature, because it appears to be irrelevant. It might be relevant, but if it's not explained to them, they won't know. And then if you want to have some sort of if you're trying to say problem solving, some sort of engaging narrative for the problem solving, like, it's like far better to say, okay, we're going to teach you how an engine works by taking apart an engine and then putting it back together, and then let's find out what tools are needed in order to take this engine apart and put it back together. It's like, okay, we need screwdrivers and wrenches and Allen keys, and we need a winch, and a bunch of other things, and then you understand the relevance, and it's much more of an interesting problem. This is much better than having, say, a course on wrenches or a course on screwdrivers.
Use it.
You just, like, start with a problem and say, what tools are needed to solve this problem? That establishes relevance and gives a compelling narrative thread.
Nice.
Yeah, it seems like you could kind of, if you had sort of elaborate enough projects, you could roll a huge number of topics into that ultimately kind of combine into a single project with some really actually interesting form of output. Like, for example, building literally building a vehicle or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. If you have the narrative thread, or like, why is it all established relevance, and there's a story to it, and then you say, like, well, if you can't turn that bolt with a wrench, and then, like, let's see, how can we make this engine better? What do we need to do? Okay, well, let's calculate, if it's a gasoline engine, how do you get to a higher RPM or a better compression ratio? I'm using, like, outdated analogies of engines, but you could say for an electric motor, what steps would you need to take to get higher torque, and pull higher power out of this electric motor? And you can explain. It's obvious why things like Maxwell's equations become necessary in that situation. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that would be amazing. Go ahead.
Yeah. Elon, you would not believe the number of parents and people with kids who have asked us about tonight, and I think there are two questions that are connected. One is, how do kids, if you're having a kid and you want to teach them to become a polymath like you have become, what advice you have for parents? And the next one is, here you are with, so many companies that you have created that I can't even list them off the top of my head. Why doesn't the world have, and this doesn't mean to sound, psychopathic, but why doesn't the world have more Elon Musk?
Well, I don't know. I might be getting too much credit here. So, I mean, for me, these things I've done have been because I felt a strong compulsion to do them. So it's not like nobody was pushing me to do it, but it was just like I felt a strong compulsion to do them. I mean, I wouldn't say, there were pretty long sections of my life that have been very painful and difficult, and I'm not sure people would want to do that. There's if somebody wants to be,
He's basically saying he works too much. Working like 15, 16, 18-hour days sucks. Except for streaming to you all. I like that.
rage demon in your skull that you just got to get it done.
Yeah.
It's like when people ask me like, what encouraging words do you have for entrepreneurs who want to do a startup? And my response is, if you need encouraging words, don't do a startup.
Yeah.
To quote my friend Bully, doing a startup is like eating glass and staring into the abyss.
Yep.
For a long time.
Yep. Okay. We're going to switch topics just to make it, but I think for everyone in the audience who just caught up and managed to squeeze in, just a quick reset/recap. This is the one and only Elon Musk for his first time on ClubHouse, and this is a show that we do every single day. I know a lot of you are trying to get in the room. There are a bunch of overflow rooms. See if we can get in there. But we're just having an amazing conversation with Elon. Elon, okay. This is something you joked about, but I'm kind of curious to get your, maybe serious answer to this, which is all things cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. You famously just changed your Twitter bio to just the Bitcoin logo and the word Bitcoin.
Yes, Bitcoin.
What do you think of cryptocurrency? What do you think of
Yes.
Bitcoin? What do you think of other cryptocurrencies? We'd love to get your take on the entire thing.
Well, I gotta watch what I say here because some of these things can really move the market. So, first of all, I should say, like, many friends of mine have tried to convince me to get involved in Bitcoin for a long time. Like when it first just popped, it popped out there. And a friend of my Bully, he actually had Bitcoin cake, a cake that was like had a big sort of Bitcoin symbol on it, and he fed me a slice of Bitcoin cake in 2013. So, I mean, clearly, I should have at least bought some Bitcoin 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, what more do people need to do? Like, Jesus. Talk about being late.
That's big. What more do people need to do?
So I was a little slow.
Buy Bitcoin. Back then.
Apologies. But I think about it a fair bit, but I do at this point think Bitcoin is a good thing.
Whoa.
So I'm a supporter of Bitcoin. Like I said, I'm late to the party, but I'm a supporter of Bitcoin. And I think Bitcoin is really on the verge of getting broad acceptance by sort of the conventional finance people. So
yeah, it is.
I think so. I don't have a strong opinion on other cryptocurrencies. I mean, occasionally I make jokes about Dogecoin. But they are really just meant to be jokes.
Oh no!
But
Get out!
Dogecoin was made as a joke to make fun of cryptocurrencies, obviously. But fate loves irony, and often, as a friend of mine says, the most ironic outcome is most likely, or as I like to say, the most entertaining outcome is often the most likely, and arguably the most entertaining outcome and the most ironic outcome would be that Dogecoin becomes the currency of Earth in the future.
Okay.
Oh my God. Elon, when you tweeted me this afternoon,
so not likely, but would be funny.
Probably like a zillion different like cryptocurrency coins, but yeah. And by the way, you might remember the infamous time when your replies were filled with cryptocurrency bots on Twitter.
Oh my God, it was insane. Yeah.
That was actually how Elon and I actually wound up meeting, because that was a very painful time. Okay.
Yeah. In fact, and then I made a joke about Bitcoin, and my account got locked.
Yeah. So. I had to actually try and convince some folks that was actually the real Elon Musk and try and get his account unblocked.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to, bring us back to one of your companies. We actually have a Tesla Model S sitting outside our house right now. It carries us and our 2-year-old baby around, and we love it. Would love to just get your take on, where you see, you just have a refresh of the Model S coming out. I just saw the review for it. Where do you just see, the future for Tesla, and especially when it comes to all things battery technology and self-driving? Those are two topics I think a lot of people are very interested in.
Good questions.
Okay,
Finally.
so you're asking me about the future of batteries and self-driving?
Yes.
More like actually, where do you see Tesla over the next few years?
Moon, duh.
Well,
What's
yeah,
Bitcoin
I
doing?
think that, the goal with Tesla is to, and has been from the beginning, is to accelerate the advent of sustainable energy. So in order to do that, we've got to make a lot of cars. We've got to make them increasingly affordable. And our rough target is we want to be able to eventually make 20 million cars a year. And the reason for that is the 2 billion active cars and trucks on the road. And figure if you're not really moving the needle unless you're changing 1% of the existing fleet. And so that's roughly how we came up with 20 million cars and trucks per year.
Yeah.
That's very important to accelerate the advent of sustainable energy. And then, of course, we've got stationary battery packs and solar, which is making a lot of progress on that front. So yeah, we're going to try to grow car production as fast as possible, and that the primary limiting factor there is battery cell production.
Yo, add me. Let's play.
We're getting as much as possible from suppliers, and then, but even that is not enough. So we're actually going to be building battery cells ourselves, but it's important to emphasize that to our suppliers who are great, we've got great suppliers, that we're not trying to put them out of business. We want them to increase their rate as well. So Panasonic, LG, and CATL, and then to add, to increase to accelerate sustainable energy further, we're making our own cells, and then anyway. So I think you expect, possibly an acceleration of compounding annual growth, or at least aspirationally, that's our goal. And
big Tesla statement
with autonomy, and it's a very powerful story, because once you have autonomy or self-driving cars, you massively increase the utility of any given car. A typical car is driven about 12 hours a week. You think of maybe depending
5X.
on the situation where you live, it's like maybe an hour and a half a day or something like that. Or in LA, it might be 2 hours a day. So roughly 12 hours a week, and there's 168 hours in a week, in a 7-day week. So most likely cars that are autonomous could maybe do a third of the hours in the week or something like that. So maybe they do, I don't know, 60 hours a week of usage instead of 12. So you got basically a 5x increase in asset utilization there, and far less need for parking lots, parking garages, and that kind of thing. So, and this in itself is good for the environment, because you need fewer cars to get the same thing done, and we would need fewer parking garages and places just to keep cars when they're not in use, because they'd be in use a lot more. So. But the net of like having a lot of cars times automation or times self-driving, I think, is at the heart of why a lot of investors think Tesla is worth what it is. They're giving us a lot of credit for future execution, but I think the trend is there. It's quite positive. And I'd like to once again say, if anyone is interested in practical AI, AI that where the rubber hits the road, please join Tesla's Autopilot/AI team. I think people don't quite appreciate that Tesla has some of the most advanced AI in the world, both on the software side and on the hardware side. And on the software, on the hardware side, we've obviously got our inference computer, which I think is still the best inference computer out there, even though it's been going for a couple of years. And and then we're building Dojo, which will be the world's most powerful training computer, because it's got to process vast amounts of video training data, and bringing the day of self-driving sooner translates directly to lives saved and injuries avoided.
Yeah.
Because about 1 million people die every year in car accidents, and about 10 million per year have serious injuries. So that's the sooner the better, and a lot of lives will be saved, and people's lives made better if it happens sooner.
Elon, on self-driving, you made headlines, I think, a while back when you basically, to put it mildly, criticized LiDAR as a key technology for self-driving. Could you talk more about that and why, you're not such a huge fan of LiDAR?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I'm just talking smack,
No, we didn't know that.
Yep, it's time you knew.
We took those tweets seriously.
I confess. Yeah. So, first of all, I'm not like fundamentally against LiDAR in all things, because for the SpaceX Dragon that docks with the space station, we actually developed and built our own LiDAR for docking with the space station. So obviously, if I hated LiDAR, we would not have done that. And this is well before. This is like 10 years ago that we started doing that. So I'm not like, I don't have some sort of weird like, antagonism to LiDAR. However, for driving on real world roads, you have to solve vision. You have to solve vision, basically understanding objects with passive optical photons, and then making sense of those objects. So like vision, perception. What do those objects mean? What are they going to do? What is their likely path of travel? And then control, and all of that really is is AI. The way we're doing it is by running a bunch of neural nets in our head. So we have to run a bunch of neural nets to do the same thing in the car. And at the point at which you've solved passive optical, and this is better passive optical than a human has, because you've got 8 cameras, 3 of which point directly forward, 2 that are diagonally forward, and 2 that are diagonally rear, and 1 rear. So the way we do it right now is we have all 8 cameras synchronized with. So you've got 8 frames collected simultaneously, and we're moving towards, and have in fact mostly moved towards video training. So you've got 8 surround cameras. It's like kind of a surreal thing to see, because people look, really, people have 2 eyes, but kind of like really more like 1 eye, because the 2 eyes kind of combine.
That's a good point. I never thought about it that way.
Basically, it needs to move to full video training, video inference, surround video training, surround video inference, and then it will be superhuman, no question about it. There's just, because people don't have eyes in the back of their head. Like, right. You basically have effectively a human, for all intents and purposes, it's like having 1 camera on a slow gimbal, and that is often distracted, and maybe sort of drunk, or change the radio, or they fall asleep, or there's all sorts of things that go wrong. There's no question that you can be superhuman with just cameras. And I think if one is going to go with sort of active photon generation, I would recommend something in the occlusion penetrating wavelengths. So like radar, at sort of roughly 4 millimeter radar or something like that, would be better if you're going to really delve into the arena of active photon generation.
Wow. Okay. That's amazing. Okay. Also, I love how deep you got into that. It was super, super fun. All right. I'm going to switch topic just a bit. I would say it's safe to say a lot of people are very interested in how you work. And you often, for example, describe yourself as an engineer. So walk us through, it's Monday morning, you wake up. What does a typical work day in the life of Elon look like?
Work.
I guess I wake up and to see if there are any emergencies on text or email, and often there are. So, I mean, a ton of what I deal with is not actually fun or interesting. It's like chores. So I've tried really hard not to do my chores, but then if I don't do my chores, things go to hell. So, oh man, you have to do your chores. So, yeah,
it's kind
basically,
I'm a bit relieved that Elon Musk basically has the same schedule as the rest of us. We all
pretty
hate
much.
him, and you do too. And it's kind of, there's something just really relieving just hearing you say that.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much how it goes these days. I do enjoy the in-person meetings more than email. In fact, I think I'm getting like a slight like negative like limbic reaction to email. It's killing me. Texts are way better to deal with, and the in-person meetings are much better. Even Zoom meetings or whatever, they're still better than email. Anything's better than email, frankly.
Yes.
So anyway, I'll have a bunch of meetings. I'll write email, write text, especially if it's like an email to the group, like saying, hey, I think we need to change direction, do the following things. And let me know if you think otherwise, but otherwise we've got to do these things and get our act together in this area or that area. And then, yeah, a bunch of meetings. Most of my meetings are engineering and design. But of course we have to deal with finance and, sales and other things. And, the things that are necessary for a company to function. And then there's this quite a lot of context switching. So he sent me the meme of like, fear is not the mind killer, context switching is the mind killer, which I totally agree with. Context switching is a real bear. So just try to basically try to do less context switching. So maybe focus on one thing for an hour and then another thing for another hour. It's really hard to context switch between SpaceX and Tesla and all the things that are going on at SpaceX and Tesla, and then Neuralink, Boring Company, which fortunately pretty low bandwidth, they don't take a high level of CPU load because they're smaller, and there's their personal stuff and of course memes. Gotta get.
That's important. How to schedule them in.
Like, where's my meme? We're expecting a meme by now.
You're calling up your meme dealer for your hit of memes. I love it.
Exactly.
Elon, earlier last year, I spoke to Mark about how he spends his time, and Mark talked about, when he was younger, he used to have large blocks of open time on his calendar, and I think a lot of, well-known founders have large blocks of open time, it's a schedule time. Now you are unique because you have multiple companies you're running. You're also much more of an engineer than traditional CEOs. What does your calendar look like? Are you allocated 30 minutes back to back? You have a lot of open space. How do you handle it?
I do not have a lot of open space. It's generally back-to-back meetings, and it's insane. I mean, my days are like insane torrents of information. I mean, sometimes people, if you want to like audit what I do for a day, it's insane. I don't recommend it. I mean, yeah. I was thinking, like, man, how long can I keep this up? Because I don't want my brain to explode.
Yeah.
And it's like the meetings that are scheduled are not like nice to have meetings. They're like, this meeting is essential. Like, okay. It's pretty intense. I was thinking like maybe I should like at some point like take a week off or something, clear my mind.
Yep.
Or like I know there's like a bunch of people like writing books on Tesla and SpaceX, for example. Like it's pretty hard for them to get it right because they just weren't there. And maybe I should like write some like book of my experiences that has like all the foolish mistakes I've done and like some advice for others that might be helpful.
Yes. I think so. A book, a documentary. I think, I mean, I remember once hearing about how do you still sleep on the floor of your factory? I remember you used to at one point in time.
No.
I did. I haven't. I only if there's like a crisis situation, and I actually it's like basically when the team is being asked to really work super hard, I got to be right there with them, and they got to see it. Seeing is believing, and so if I'm just sleeping in the middle of the factory floor, and sort of going to sleep at 4 a.m, and like waking up like 4 hours later, and like they literally see me, they walk past me. It's not like
Whoever I just ignored, send me another invite.
CEOs willing to fucking take that level of pain, then they'll do it too.
It's an impression.
I was going to say, when you first said you slept in the factory, I figured, there must be like an executive floor or something. And you must have like a couch, and it must be like a nice setup. And then, when I came over to see you that one time, it's like you have your conference room is literally in the middle of the factory, and like the giant. Sure, I'm pardon my swearing, but I have to. The giant fucking robots are like 15 feet away.
Yeah.
And they're pounding metal, and it's like ear splitting. And your factory is like literally, or your room is like literally right in the middle of them. And then at least I saw your like sleeping bag in the conference room, so I assume that's where you're sleeping. I didn't see any of the rooms. Like,
yeah,
so it's not just sleeping in the middle of the factory. It's like that's intense.
Most of the time, I did not sleep in the conference room because people could not see me in the conference room. So I slept on the floor outside the conference room.
Even better.
Because otherwise, how do people know?
Yep.
Like, they don't know. Seeing's believing. So I mostly just sleep on the floor outside the conference room so they could see that I was there.
Yep, that's an even more advanced level.
Yeah. That's world of hurt. And I always wake up and smell like oil and iron filings.
Wow.
it was rough. Yeah, but I was asking people to really go all out, and I can't expect them to go all out if I'm not doing the same thing.
Yeah.
That's super interesting because when people think, and again, I'm not saying this to flatter you. When people think that how does the richest person in the world live, they don't think uncomfortably sleeping outside a conference room with like a lot of loud banging going on right next door.
They probably don't, but the people at the factory do. They saw it themselves.
I love it.
That's what's important,
Yeah.
Okay, I love it. Okay, switching topic just a little bit. I think a lot of people, okay, you have your hands full with SpaceX and Tesla, and the Boring Company and Neuralink. If you had to start, if you somehow magically found an extra 5 hours in a day, and you had to start another company or another effort, what would you start?
Well, I'm definitely have no plans to start yet another thing.
You have all the free time.
Man,
look at you.
Yeah, my head will definitely explode.
It's like the gladiator meme. Are you not entertained enough? Have you not created enough companies?
Indeed. I think there are still tremendous opportunities in tunneling. For 5 years, people asked me what do I see opportunities, and I'd say tunneling, and then nobody did anything. So then, actually, initially as a joke, created the board and did it. We did like a test tunnel in LA, and then still people didn't believe us. And then so we just did our first operational tunnel in Vegas. But the world really needs tunnels because all major cities have traffic, and tunnels can massively improve people's quality of life by making it easier to travel from one place to another in a city. And then that can be further expanded to long distance travel, where if you just draw a vacuum on the tunnel, then you can go extremely fast, faster than a plane, and faster than a plane or a high-speed rail. So I'd really still recommend, can someone else say, please start a tunneling company? That'd be great. Then there's RNA or mRNA,
Yes.
basically synthetic viruses, which is we've seen put to good effect with BioNTech and Moderna. But I think people don't quite appreciate that what's actually going on is the digitization of medicine.
He's so right. Those are such good improvements.
Create an RNA or DNA sequence like a computer program.
It's huge.
And then encapsulate that in a you have to multiply it many millions of times, billions of times, and encapsulate that in a lipid shell, so it looks like a tasty treat for your cells, and you can literally do anything. This is absolutely the future of medicine. I mean,
Yeah.
when I say, I mean, you could probably figure out how to turn someone into a literal butterfly. Okay, your cells are biological computers. They execute just like a sort of an old school computer where you'd feed it like a, if you'd feed it a tape,
Hey,
or a punch card. That's you feed.
That's because the CEO of Moderna says mRNA technology is like a cassette tape that you can insert and excerpt. Something I've been talking about course members about is once this vaccine hype dies down on the stocks, all the traders buying the stocks for the vaccine hype, get in and get long on Moderna and Pfizer once the vaccine hype is over.
Making a fairly advanced RNA sort of microfab or something where for currently for CureVac, but we're open to making it for other companies as well.
Wait. I don't think I'm not sure I understand this. Why is Tesla making an RNA fab?
It's super random. So, like about a little over 4 years ago, we acquired a company in Germany, primarily for they're very good at automation. It's called they were called Groman, and they're in southern Germany near basically a city of Prum. And at time of the acquisition, they said like, look, we're willing to be acquired, but there's like just a couple of projects that we think, even though they're not related to automotive, we'd really like to continue if you don't mind. As like, and the two projects were one is this like tiny chip analyzer, or like a thing with tiny wires for analyzing chips that Intel needs for making CPUs, and then another one was this biotech thing for it's basically there's three parts to it. There's a DNA multiplier, an RNA multiplier, and something which puts then the lipid shell on the RNA sequence. We're on like version 3 of it now, and they said could they keep going? I said, well, if you keep it under 10% of resources, no problem, we can keep going. And then I don't know, it turned out like it turns out it may actually be useful.
I just love that you accidentally found yourself with an RNA fab. By the way, you've been talking a lot about how mRNA obviously has been key to the Moderna vaccines and all the COVID-19 vaccines, which brings me to COVID. Let us say somehow magically tomorrow you were running the vaccine effort, the distribution effort right now.
Yeah.
What would you do to get the vaccines out?
Yeah, specifically around the delivery and the logistics side, which we just don't seem to be doing a really good job across the world. So what would you do differently there?
It's a good question.
Well, I don't have good insight into the situation as it stands, but I think relaxing the requirements on there's like seems to be there are too many requirements of who can get the vaccine.
Yep.
The vaccine really is important for anyone with that is elderly or has a compromised immune system, or is otherwise at risk for the virus. And I think really just saying like, first come first serve. Show up here. Like use CVS and Walgreens.
He's so right. If you want to stay in line all day, go get it.
And say, okay, just show up here, and
yeah.
Especially for the Moderna and BioNTech vaccines, which are quite temperature sensitive, they can only be sort of defrosted from the deep freeze briefly, and then they must be used or they lose their effectiveness. This is because my understanding is the RNA because the RNA sequences they use are not stable. Those sequences want to revert to something else. Because they're not stable, they must be frozen at a very low temperature, or they will simply want to revert to a lower energy state RNA sequence. That's my understanding of it. So just like instead of worrying about like this, is the exact right person going to get the vaccine? Like just accept that maybe some people who shouldn't get the vaccine will get it, but we'll still get a hell of a lot more vaccines out there.
Yep.
And
dude,
and
he's so right. They waste so much time. rejecting people right now. It's
Possible.
stupid.
For sure, we should not worry about the second dose quite yet. Just give everyone the first dose. I suspect that the immunity granted by the first dose is very significant, and we got, that third dose, the second dose is like I think 3 or 4 weeks later. So we'll have that. We've got plenty of time to think about the second dose. Just worry about the first dose and first come first served, and don't worry about like accidentally giving the damn thing to someone who maybe didn't deserve it. That will happen a little bit.
Yeah.
So
Dude,
that's my recommendation.
He's so right. He's so right.
There is going to be an avalanche of vaccine coming. I think the U.S. may have ordered they may have ordered something like 900 million doses supply, and the combination of there's going to be we were going to have so much COVID vaccine. I guarantee you, it will be thrown away later this year, more than we could possibly ever need or want. And the Johnson & Johnson vaccine just got approved, which is that's good because it's more conventional vaccine, but it's a single shot, room temperature.
Yeah.
And there are more and more vaccines that are going to get approved. Hopefully, the CureVac one will be approved soon. I know because I know the Tesla machine, it can make a bazillion doses super fast. So I think there's definitely. For those who are concerned about the vaccine, you should expect an exponential increase in vaccine availability, and then combined with that, we are, I think, starting to approach some degree of herd immunity with people who have contracted the virus and recovered. So, which is actually better than getting vaccine. The antibody reaction is better than if you got the vaccine. So, could go on and on about it, but overall, I think optimistic message that there will be lots of vaccines, and I would really encourage people to take the vaccine. I am not an anti-vaxxer. I want to be clear. I'm a pro-vaxxer.
So,
Nice.
Speaking of the vaccine, California has been sort of bouncing between kind of 45th and 50th in the country, by states in terms of the speed of the rollout. And
Dude, it's so bad. I went to one of the sites just to check. Bad. They literally just, nope, not good enough, rejected. Oh,
built our companies, primarily in California up until now. What's your view on the future of California from here?
bad.
Well, I mean, first of all, I should say I love California, and I've lived more than half my life in California. Just like I am, Californian.
Got him.
Like so much of my. I mean, I built my companies here. Came here as a summer. Came to Silicon Valley as a summer intern to work on energy storage technology for electric
Bitcoin.
vehicles. Way back in like 92, I think it was 92 or 93. There's a little company called Pinnacle Research in Los Gatos. I got to Silicon Valley as soon as I could. And then at Stanford, I was going to be working on sort of advanced capacitors for use in electric vehicles as grad studies, and ended up putting that on hold for the internet. And try to get a job at Netscape, by the way.
So I have heard that story indirectly. I would actually like for you to tell it so that I can learn what mistake I made.
Okay, well, first of all, I wouldn't say I did a very good job of trying to get a job at Netscape, but I was convinced that the internet would be the future. Essentially, the humanity communicated by osmosis until then, but with the internet, it would be like humanity acquiring a nervous system and becoming much more of a superorganism. And so I was like, okay, well, I could do a PhD at Stanford on sort of advanced capacitors for use in electric vehicles, which may or may not be successful. Like I could get the PhD, but would it be useful or not? Uncertain. Or I could be part of building the internet, which was so it's either like do the PhD and watch the internet get built right in front of me, or put grad studies on hold and try to help build the internet in some way. And you're basically the only internet company. So I sent my resume, and I was like, didn't get any feedback. And then I tried hanging out in the lobby, but I was too shy to speak to anyone.
Oh.
And I was like, man, what a charlatan I am sitting in this lobby.
Wow.
And then I just started writing software myself because I was like, okay, well, I'll just write software myself. And I actually wrote the first maps and directions on the internet. I'm not sure how many people are aware of that, but the first maps, directions, yellow pages, and white pages. I wrote it personally. It's just me and my computer. And when we started our first company, we only had one computer. So the website only worked during the day because I was coding at night, and then the server ran during the day. So, that was quite an adventure, that's for sure. Yeah.
So I just want to let you know that the next time you show up at one of my companies and hang out in the lobby for an internship, you're going to get an internship.
Wow, thanks, man.
Yeah. But only if you get the stuff running 24/7. Like you can't slack off at night. Yeah, you have to keep it running.
Yeah, no sleeping outside the conf rooms. That's not okay.
Yeah.
We will provide you with not just one but 2 computers.
Nice.
Okay. I want to wrap up with some light questions for you, which I think a lot of people are curious in. What are you watching on TV? What are you reading right now?
You don't got time for that.
Well, I just finished watching The Last Kingdom, which I think is a great piece of
I was wrong.
Mostly accurate historical drama. There's Cobra Kai, which is if you grew up in
it's so good.
It's so good. It's such a sick burn, that show. My goodness. I mean, they just like turn the knife constantly. Yeah. Let's see, what else have we been watching?
What do you if I can break it? What do you think of The Expanse?
Maybe I should start watching that. I think there were like some sort of like things about like having a shortage of water or something. There's something like that didn't make any scientific sense at first, so I was like, come on, this is dumb. So then I stopped watching it. But it sounds like maybe I should keep watching it. I need to watch on the treadmill, otherwise I won't work out because I hate working out.
Yeah, I think you'll find. I mean, I think season 4 now. I think you'll find it's apparently. I think you'll know more than I will, but the sort of most accurate representation of what actual like interplanetary travel would be like. Once it's sort of made routine. And by the way, the politics that flow, right? And so it sort of sets up a 3-way battle between basically Earth and Mars, and then the asteroid belt, and kind of gets into all the.
It's entirely possible in the future. I would say that would be a good outcome because it means that humanity's actually made it out there. As long as they don't annihilate each other.
Ooh.
Besides the Expanse, I mean, what do you recommend?
Have you seen?
I think I've got one for. I just got to bring one up. Devs, spelled DEVS.
Devs, yes.
If you have not seen Devs, Dev is definitely the show for you. And I will not say any more, but you will enjoy it.
All right, Devs. A game that's pretty good is Mythic Quest.
Yes. Amazing.
Oh my God, my favorite.
Best Apple TV show.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Did you see the Ravens Banquet, the most recent one?
Yeah, it's great.
So good.
Tenet yet? The new Christopher Nolan movie?
Yes, it's pretty good.
Wow. Okay. And did you understand Tenet?
What?
Well, I think if you think too hard about Tenet, it's not going to make maybe complete sense. But I enjoyed the movie.
It's funny because that's kind of what Nolan said too in one of the interviews. He said, just don't go deep into it. Just enjoy it for the movie. And 4 hours later, I emerged from Reddit being like, I still don't entirely get it. So I should have just just skimmed through it, just watched it for the fun of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Okay, Elon. I think we don't want to take up too much of your time. This has been amazing.
Yeah, we do.
You've pretty much broken ClubHouse. There are probably about over a dozen, maybe more overflow rooms, and I see so many Twitter trends right now. You've been so generous. For all your listeners here and on Twitter, you've been asking for people to join Neuralink. You've been asking people to join Tesla. Do you have any final thoughts for everybody who's listening to you right now?
Well, do you want to hear the real story from Vlad from Robinhood about what happened this week with GameStop?
Yes. Dude, yes.
Sure, go for it.
Yes.
Okay, you need to let him somehow click on a button so he can talk.
Whoa, he's coming on.
All right, let me figure this out.
What? What? Yes.
While we're figuring it out, Elon, why don't you talk to us about Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, since you mentioned that right at the beginning?
Yeah, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams is in fact a book of philosophy disguised as a silly humor book. And if you read it from the standpoint of, wow, this is an interesting book of philosophy, it's quite insightful. You know, as mentioned, he really hits on the point of the answer is easy once you can properly formulate the question. Yeah. I mean, I like the fact that the ship is powered by infinite improbability.
Mm-hmm.
It's called the Heart of Gold.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's he makes fun of bureaucracy. In fact, Earth essentially gets destroyed by a sort of clerical error or by the alien. Or, I mean, essentially, but not even clerical error. They basically decide that they need to have an interstellar highway, and then Earth's in the way, and so they post the fact that Earth needs to get destroyed for this interstellar highway. But of course, it's posted on an alien bulletin board that no one on Earth can access, and so then they're surprised when people on Earth are unhappy about this. It's like, it was posted on the board. What do you mean? They're like, what board? Some of the things in Doug Adams' book, like the babble fish, where you put the fish in your ear that automatically translates. We kind of have that already. So yeah, I mean, the future is coming fast.
Elon, okay. Vlad, can you hear us?
Vlad the Stock Impaler.
Yes, come on.
Hey guys, thanks for inviting me up. It's good to hang with all of you.
Smart,
all right,
smart,
Vlad,
Robinhood.
What really happened?
Yes.
The inside scoop.
All right. Well, I was actually hoping that you would invite me up for the Fermi paradox part, because this has been a very surreal weekend and week for me. One of the really great things is all the people coming out of the woodwork to offer support for the company, offer advice. So I got introduced today. And actually, I should say, I just randomly downloaded ClubHouse a couple of days ago just to see what it was all about. So this is my first time literally using the app. But come on, man. I got introduced to your friend Antonio, Elon, who
say sorry
had some advice for me
and explain.
Introduced me to you. You had some great advice, and then I figured,
good.
I heard about this ClubHouse, and this has got to be part of the simulation. So I just thought, why not? So here I am. So I'm actually an adherent to the simulation hypothesis.
All right. Well, spill the beans, man. What happened last week? Why do you stop people? Why couldn't people buy GameStop shares? The people demand an answer, and they want to know the details and the truth.
Yep. Okay. So let me start by giving a little bit of background. So I'm the chief executive of Robinhood. Robinhood is actually a I'll go through this quickly. Don't worry. This is important. It's actually a couple of companies. So there's an introducing broker dealer called Robinhood Financial, and that basically is the app that you know and love. It processes trades. You're a customer of Robinhood Financial. Then there's a clearing broker dealer, Robinhood Securities, that clears and settles the trades. And then we have Robinhood Crypto, which is our crypto business. All of these are kind of different entities that are differently operated. So basically Wednesday of last week, we just had, unprecedented volume, unprecedented load on the system. A lot of these, so-called meme stocks were, going viral on social media, and people were joining Robinhood, and there was a lot of net buy activity on them, as you guys all know. And Robinhood at this time, I think, was number one on the iOS App Store, and pretty close, if not number one, on Google Play as well. So just unprecedented activity. And so Thursday morning, right? So I'm sleeping. but at 3:30 a.m. Pacific, our operations team receives a file from the NSCC, which is the National Securities Clearing Corporation. So basically, as a broker, as a clearing broker, and this is where Robinhood Securities comes in, we have to put up money to the NSCC based on some factors, including things like the volatility of the trading activity, concentration into certain securities, and this is the equities business. So it's based on stock trading and not options trading or anything else.
Okay.
So they give us a file with the deposit, and the request was around $3 billion, which is, about an order of magnitude more than what it typically is, right?
That's like 10x.
So
10x.
No, why was that so high? Like, this seems like it sounds like this is an unprecedented increase in demand for capital. What formula did they use to calculate that?
Well, yeah, and just to give context, Robinhood up until that point has raised, a little bit around $2 billion in total venture capital up until now. So it's a big number. Like $3 billion is a large number, right? So basically, the details are, we don't have the full details. It's a little bit of an opaque formula, but there's a component called the VAR of it, which is value at risk. And that's based on kind of some fairly quantitative things, although it's not fully transparent. So there are ways to reverse engineer it, but it's not kind of publicly shared. And then there's a special component, which is discretionary. So that kind of acts as a multiplier. And basically,
discretionary meaning like it's just their opinion.
Yeah, it's a little bit. I mean, I'm sure there's definitely more than just their opinion, but basically,
well, I mean, I guess like what everyone wants to know is like, did something maybe shady go down here? Like it's like, seems weird that you'd get a sudden $10 billion demand.
Three
in the morning. Sorry, how much?
Yeah,
3.
It was $3 billion US dollars.
3 billion. Okay, $3 billion.
Yeah, around.
Just suddenly out of nowhere. And what percentage?
I wouldn't impute shadiness to it or anything like that. And actually, the NSCC was reasonable subsequent to this, and they worked with us to actually lower it. So it was unprecedented activity. I don't have the full context about what was going on in the NSCC to make these calculations, but yeah, essentially it was a large number. Is
anyone holding you hostage right now?
No,
Blink
I'm
twice.
okay. Yeah. Thanks for asking. But anyway, so this was obviously nerve-wracking, and I actually was asleep at this point. The operations team was fielding this at 3:00, and then we got back, we put our heads together. Our chief operating officer basically said, look, let's call up the higher ups at the NSCC and kind of figure out what's going on.
Good.
Maybe there's some way we can work with them.
Yes.
And basically there was another call, and they lowered it to something like $1.4 billion from 3.
Okay.
So, we were making some progress, right? And then, but it's still a high number. And then we basically proposed, well, let's explain how we plan to, let's explain how, we'll manage risk in these symbols throughout the day.
Right.
We proposed marking these volatile stocks that were kind of driving the activity, position closing only. And then at about an hour before market open, so 5:30 or 5 in the morning,
28th,
they came back and they said, okay, the charge is, or the deposit, $700 million. which we then deposited and paid promptly, and then everything was fine. So that essentially explains why we had to mark these symbols position closing only, and also why we knew this was a bad outcome for customers. Part of what's been really difficult is Robinhood stands for democratizing access to stocks, and we want to give people the access. So that's been very, very challenging. But we had no choice in this case. We had to conform to our regulatory capital requirements, and so the team did what they could to make sure we were available for customers.
Why didn't he say this then?
Who controls this organization, this clearinghouse?
Yeah.
It's a consortium. It's not quite a government agency.
Citadel.
I don't really know the details of all of that.
Okay.
But and to be fair, like we were I think there was legitimate sort of turmoil in the markets. Like these are unprecedented events with these meme stocks, and there was a lot of activity. So there probably is some amount of extra risk in the system that warrants higher requirements. So it's not entirely unreasonable. But we did operational processes to make sure that customers that had positions could sell their open positions, because obviously restricting someone, we got a lot of questions about, okay, you had to restrict buying, why didn't you also restrict selling?
Right.
And the fact of the matter is, people get really pissed off if they're holding stock and they want to sell it and they can't, right? So
true.
I think that's categorically worse. So and lots of other brokers, I think, were in the same situation. Robinhood was in the news, but you sort of heard this industry-wide, right? Other brokers basically restricted the same exact activity.
All right, so it sounds like this organization calls you up and they basically have a gun to your head, either hand over this money or else. And so, because I mean, like basically what people are wondering is like, did you sell your clients down the river, or do you have no choice?
Right.
If you had no choice, that's understandable.
Yeah.
But then we got to find out why you had no choice, and who are these people that are saying you have no choice?
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's fair. We have to comply with these requirements. Financial institutions have requirements. The formula behind these requirements, I think it would obviously be ideal if there was a little bit more transparency so we could plan better around that. But to be fair, we were able to open and serve our customers, and 24 hours later, our team raised over $1 billion in capital, so that when we did open, when we do open tomorrow morning, we'll be able to kind of relax the stringent position limits that we put on these securities on Friday.
Will there be any limits?
Well, I think there's always going to be some theoretical limit. Like we don't have infinite capital, right? And on Friday there were limits. So there's always going to have to be some limit. I think the question is, will the limits be high enough to the point where, they won't impact, 99.9+% of customers. So, if someone were to deposit $100 billion and decide to trade in one stock like that, that wouldn't be possible,
Right.
All right.
Okay. Say sorry. God, apologize.
All right. Well, I guess people really just want to know, if you had no choice, then you had no choice. It's gun to the head situation. And, then that's understandable.
Right.
But then whoever put that gun to your head should, be willing to answer to the public.
True.
Yeah, listen, and I know there's processes. This is unprecedented times, and to be fair to those guys, they've been reasonable. So
don't say they're reasonable. They sound unreasonable.
That is maybe not clear to people is Robinhood's a participant in the financial system, so we have to work with all of these counterparties. So we do get a lot of questions about, why do you work with market makers? Why do you work with clearing houses? Vertically integrating and getting, it's hard enough to build introducing a clearing broker dealer. Not too many people have done that, but the financial system that allows customers to trade shares is sort of a complex web of multiple parties, and it's hard to. Everyone says, oh, it could be better, it could be improved. It's just the necessity of trading equities in the U.S. that you have to do all these things.
I mean, to what degree are you beholden to Citadel?
Ooh.
I mean, like basically, if Citadel's unhappy, then what happens?
Yes, Elon.
Yeah, so that there was a rumor that Citadel or other market makers kind of pressured us into doing this, and that's just false, right? Market makers execute our trades. They execute trades of every broker dealer. This was a clearinghouse. This was a clearinghouse decision, and it was just based on the capital requirements. So,
dude, Elon,
from our perspective, Citadel and other market makers weren't involved in that.
Okay.
But wouldn't they have a strong say in who got put in charge of that organization, since it's an industry consortium, not a government consortium, or not a government regulatory agency?
I don't have any reason to believe that. I think that's just like, then you're getting into kind of the conspiracy theories a little bit. So I just have no reason to believe that that's the case,
Okay. All right. Well, I guess so we'll see what happens with future actions. Hopefully that was insightful, or at least a little bit entertaining. Are you not entertained?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know what to say. First of all, Vlad, thank you so much for jumping on. I know it's pretty late, and thank you so much. I deeply appreciate it, and I'm sure everyone in the audience here and watching elsewhere deeply appreciate it. So thank you so much. We really appreciate this. I'm going to wrap this up. Elon, what can I say? Thank you so much.
I'm going to recap, so stick around.
For your first time on ClubHouse, did you have fun?
Yeah, it's great. This is awesome. I didn't even know it existed a week ago, so it seems cool.
Awesome. So would you come back?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you so much. And also thank you everyone for listening in. I know we went way over, Elon. Elon, we every time we do this show, we try and pick a song that fits the person we're interviewing. So I'm going to play us out of the show with a song that I think you might like. Gary, hit it. There we go.
Nice. Okay, cool. All right, they're taking off. Okay, let's do a really quick recap here. That was really interesting about Robinhood. So I'm going to just do a really quick full recap here. Sorry to my Call of Duty friends. I'm going to go hide in a corner really quick while I do this, because this was really insightful. Okay, so here's what just went down, folks. Hold on. Let's recap this, and let's dialogue a little bit. So I got the chat up. Let me know if you've got questions. Thank you for here. Shout out. Oh my God, dude, come on! You can't put the political meme in your title. Oh, you guys are hilarious. Okay, let's. Jeez, man. All right, let's let's quickly recap what the heck just happened here. So. Let's see. Okay, Elon Musk on Robinhood. So here we go. Okay, all right. Hey everyone, me Kevin here. All right, so Elon Musk just spoke with Vlad, basically the CEO of Robinhood. I just call him by his first name because it's easier. So Vlad, CEO of Robinhood, gave really cryptic answers to what the HE double hockey sticks is going on at Tesla, or has been going on at, not Tesla, geez, what's been going on at Robinhood last week. Specifically, what happened on January 28th, which was my birthday. And he gave cryptic interviews on Bloomberg, CNBC, and CNN. And literally on all of those interviews, he ended up looking worse. his position worsened. He got called the Sheriff of Nottingham. He got called out for potentially siding with Citadel. They took all of the blame at Robinhood, saying, well, we're trying to protect the customer. And it felt like we were getting fed a load of attorney printed BS to cover up some bullcrap Citadel intervention that was going on, because Citadel represents around 40% of the order of business or income that Robinhood gets, and Citadel bailed out Melvin Capital, which Melvin Capital had a crap ton, billions of dollars invested in short positions on GameStop. So when GameStop shorts get squeezed like crazy, what happens? Boom, Melvin loses a ton of money. Melvin gets bailed out by Citadel. Citadel is like, crap, we just made a $2.75 billion investment into Melvin. The further this goes down the tube, the worse our investment looks. And that led to these conspiracy theories that basically Robinhood is potentially getting pressured by Citadel to go, hey, look, as if I'm Citadel here, okay? Citadel goes, hey, look, we're Citadel. We, Robinhood, as in us Citadel, pretend I'm Citadel, okay? Robinhood, we give you 40% of your business. We just had to bail out your boy, Melvin Capital, because you got all these kids buying these meme stocks. You're screwing us over here. $2.75 billion is what we just invested to protect the dude who's losing his pants, the shorts. You got to do something, Robinhood. That's the conspiracy. The conspiracy is that, well, Robinhood basically caved to pressure because Citadel is one of their biggest customers and sources of revenue. And basically, Robinhood had to limit trading to satisfy Citadel. Well, earlier today, I mentioned this in the interview with David Lee, and I've mentioned Dave Lee, he goes by, and I mentioned this in other videos as well. I said earlier on this channel multiple times, you can see it, it's still there. I said, I think what happened with Robinhood is that there is not their clearing firm. Watch the Dave Lee interview. I said this in there. It's not their clearing firm. There's a problem with some other clearing firm, and there's some kind of formula that they're basically getting screwed on. But Robinhood needs to come out and have a dialogue. Dave Lee had a great opinion. He said what Vlad needs to do is get on social media and have an open dialogue about what the HE double hockey sticks went down with Robinhood and why they would stop our freaking ability to buy the stocks that we want to buy. We don't want daddy telling us, well, I'm not going to let you buy GameStop because I'm protecting you. We don't want that bull crap. So Elon Musk just invited Vlad onto ClubHouse to explain, clear the air, make it right, or at least try to make it right. Can we, we'll make a conclusion here, how much damage control was just done, okay? Here's the thing. Here's what went down on the call. So Vlad says, all right, we have 3 companies at Robinhood. We have a broker dealer. A broker dealer is just basically a fintech that's like, yo, trade apps on our website because we got a cool interface. We swipe up, you get to swipe up, and you get fireworks, wee, or whatever. It could be, I don't care. It could be Webull, it could be M1 Finance, whatever. They're all basically the same thing. You sign up with them. They're your broker. It's kind of like you having a real estate broker, right? They're your dude who's basically like, when you go, yo, I want to buy that house. I want to go buy that stock. They're like, no problem. Leave it to us. We'll take care of the crap. We'll take care of everything. That's basically what the broker dealer is, right? Well, Robinhood also has a broker dealer clearing firm, which just basically eliminates like the apex of the world. Basically, there's the next level is the clearinghouse on the broker dealer side. Apex is the broker clearinghouse for M1 Finance and Webull. So Webull and M1 Finance were like, don't blame us. It was Apex. Okay. Well, then Robinhood also has a third company that's their crypto division, but the crypto division, we'll just put that aside for right now. So basically, when you put an order in, you go, hey, yo, broker, I gotta buy me some GameStop call options. Okay, no problem. We'll take that call. We send it to the clearinghouse, which is also our company. Then from that clearinghouse, it goes to the next clearinghouse. And that's where issues came up, which we're going to talk about that next clearinghouse. So the next clearinghouse is called NSCC. That is the National Securities Clearing Corporation. They are a clearing broker. So you go from Robinhood, your broker, to Robinhood Broker Clearing, to the clearinghouse, on the other side. It's probably like the counterparty clearinghouse. I'm not sure about that, but they're two involved. It's the next one up. It's the next level in the chain, right? So NSCC is the next level in the chain. And they hit up Robinhood and go, hey, y'all, look, you guys been going crazy with all these GameStop orders and AMC, and there is so much implied volatility on these options and the stocks. Like, we have a magic formula, and our magic 8-ball formula says, you owe us $3 billion. And Robinhood's probably like, holy crap, I only got a $500 million credit line. What do you want us to do? Now, I don't know, okay? They ended up coming up with a number that's pretty close to what I just said, and I'll explain that because I want to keep the story in order here. But the point is, Robinhood is like, holy crap. And apparently this went down at like 3 a.m. And, you know, Vlad could have probably given us a little bit more detail into like, I'm sweating bullets, I'm dying and stressing out over here because I know my customers are going to be pissed. He didn't really do that, but that might just be because Vlad's Vlad. Fine. You know, we want it to be sincere too. We don't want him to just feed us bull crap. So then he says, look, my guess, by the way, is that that's probably 10x what they usually have to deposit, $3 billion. I'm guessing they probably have to deposit like 300 million, maybe 50 to 300 million. In fact, earlier on my live stream with Dave, I guessed 50 million to 200 million. So pretty similar. Anyway, so there's this fancy formula that has to do with the value at risk. So I'm assuming value at risk is some kind of number to where, the bigger the number, the value at risk is, the more money you basically have to deposit. It's some algorithm. It's kind of like people try to figure out how the algorithm at YouTube works. It's a secret formula. We don't really know what it is, but I can tell you if I posted a video that said, how to save $50 every time you place an outlet in a rental property, I can pretty much guarantee you the algorithm is going to show that to nobody. And that is one of the reasons I have courses. But anyway, so, the algorithms work in mysterious ways, but Vlad said, look, we can reverse engineer the way the algorithm works. We can kind of try to figure out, okay, this is probably how the algorithm works. And then that way they can try to predict things. But Robinhood's like, holy crap, there was no way we could have predicted you were going to ask us for $3 billion. So did Robinhood basically get hit with a liquidity crisis? Yes and no, because Robinhood for the last few years had absolutely zero expectation that they would ever get called up and asked for $3 billion because they don't know what the formula is. And how are you supposed to? That's almost like saying, hey, your mortgage payment is $2,000 a month, but you sign a page that says you're subject to this particular formula. SHIT hits the fan, your mortgage payment next month is $20,000 a month, 10x. And you'd be like, what the F? I mean, I signed that formula expecting that to never freaking happen. And you didn't even tell me what's in the formula. So how was I supposed to know what triggered the damn formula that was going to make me pay 10x, on a certain day? Because Robinhood has to deposit this money every day before trading opens, basically. Okay. So now, Vlad goes into the story about how it's like 3 a.m. The market's getting ready to open up. They're calling the higher ups. And again, the company, look them up, okay? Look up the company. These are the villains, apparently. Apparently. Somebody please look up if there are any connections between NSCC and Melvin Capital or whatever it's called, Melvin and Citadel. Please look that up. Find connections between NSCC, Citadel, and Melvin, or short sellers, or any jerk who's short GameStop, because they deserve a specific video for them. All right. Now, so basically, Vlad's like, hey, yo. All right, look, we don't got $3 billion. Like, we will shut down tomorrow and go bankrupt tomorrow because we don't have that. And now they don't necessarily have to go bankrupt. If their clearinghouse says, give us $3 billion and Robinhood's like, we can't do that, it doesn't mean they go bankrupt because it's not like it's debt. It's just sort of your admission price. It's like your security deposit to trade that day. So if Robinhood's like, dude, we can't do $3 billion, like, we'll just not trade. And they could, in theory, just say, fine, shut the platform down that day. That doesn't mean they're bankrupt, right? It doesn't mean like your shares are at risk. It just means they don't have the money to trade that day to cover the value at risk. Okay, so now we understand that this formula, some bullcrap, magic formula bullcrap nonsense, screwed Robinhood out of nowhere. And they couldn't even predict this because the formula is a freaking mystery. So they negotiate it down. They negotiate it down to $1.4 billion. Then they negotiated down to $700 million with some restrictions. That's probably how they got it down to $700 million. They're like, well, what if we just say people can't trade GameStop? Can we at least just be open for business for all the other 99% of the stocks we have? Because you're all screwing us here. Okay? And I wish Vlad had a little bit of passion in explaining this, because he should be pissed. He should be extremely pissed. He did say that, it would be better if this NSCC would be more transparent with their freaky algorithm or whatever. He did say that. But, he could have been a little bit more pointed. Like, if these assholes gave us the damn formula, we could have been prepared. But NSCC, they're the jerk-offs. Problem is, he probably can't really do that, because they could just be like, oh, you're going to call us jerk-offs? Okay. Robinhood, you're off our list. And then you're really screwed, right? Then you're really not trading any stocks. Now, he didn't say that. I'm imputing that based on the implications here. Okay. So now we understand a little bit better the situation that Robinhood was in. And he even said, we knew this was bad, but we knew we had to conform. I personally didn't like that he said this. He goes, probably not entirely unreasonable. Is there lag? Give the camera a rest. Hold on. Here. I got another camera. All right. What's up? Is this work? All right. So anyway, hopefully I'm not glitching anymore. I mean, what do I know? If I'm saying, can you at least hear me? If you can hear me, that's good. Camera's fine. Some of you say it's fine. All right. Whatever. Camera's gonna die. Look, we got to keep going with the story. We got a story to tell here. Okay. I'm assuming we're good. I'm not in my underwear, but I am in shorts because it's hot in here. This is why I keep my office 65 degrees. People are like, Kevin, why are you always wearing a jacket? Because it's 65 degrees in that office. It's like 80 degrees in this in this garage right here, and I'm sweating. I'm dying in here. Okay, so going back to the story. All right, then Elon Musk asked some pointed questions. Okay, before Elon Musk asks some pointed questions, the Robinhood CEO says, we raised capital over the weekend, so now we have more money. And because we have more money, basically we can now meet these higher security deposit requirements, okay? Take it off. Stop. All right, so they raised money over the weekend so they can keep funding the problems that they have. Then Elon Musk, coming in like the badass he is, goes, dude, to what level are you beholden to Citadel? And I'm like, big burn, like burn of a question right there. Now, Vlad dodged the question, okay? He did not answer how beholden they are to Citadel. Vlad simply said, we did not get pressured to do what we did. The problem is, you did. You did get pressured, just not by Citadel. That was the implication. I would say that's what he said. He said we didn't get pressured by Citadel. He got pressured by the NSCC, okay? Again, look up the NSCC. Please find me those connections, and I'll look that up later too. Okay, so we didn't get pressured, no. He says this was a clearinghouse decision. Then Elon Musk says, well, who's in charge of the NSCC? And Vlad says, look, I have no reason to believe in any of this conspiracy stuff. There is no conspiracy. We did not, he's basically saying we didn't collude with Citadel. And Elon Musk is like, well, here's the problem. You need to tell us these things. If you have a gun held to your head, which basically you did, Elon Musk says, you need to come out and tell us we need to do this and it sucks because we have a gun to our head. By the way, here's the jerk holding the gun to our head, and here's why they're holding a gun to our head. If Elon Musk is so damn right, if Elon Musk had said, or I'm sorry, if Vlad had somebody talking to me about multitasking, and now here I am getting distracted. I appreciate you complimenting me on multitasking, but you literally messed me up. Well, where are you? No, that was a good one. I do appreciate you. No, thank you for that. I appreciate the compliments. Okay, so Elon Musk is basically like, look, you got to tell us this stuff. You got to communicate to us that if somebody's holding a gun to your head, who is it and what do they want? Who is it? What do they want? That's all you would have had to do. But instead, and this is me speaking now, not Elon, okay? What happened instead? Well, what happened instead was the Robinhood CEO is like, yeah, okay, guys, we gotta, stop trading of these stocks because we need to protect you. We gotta protect ourselves too, but we gotta protect you. And then he gets asked, did you guys have a liquidity issue, on the news shows? And he's like, well, no, but we did just raise some more money. I'm like, dude, You're begging for the conspiracy theories. Oh. Bottom line, okay? Robinhood got effed by the man. Robinhood got screwed hardcore by the suits. Robinhood was apparently so afraid of the suits that they didn't blame the suits. Even today, when he was talking to Elon Musk, he didn't really blame the suits. He's kind of like, well, I mean, some of their things are reasonable. He's being empathetic to people he shouldn't be empathetic to. That's what's happening. And I get it. I consider myself most of the time to be a sympathetic person. I can't say empathetic because what do I know? I don't know. I've never been in that business, but I could say I could sympathize with, I could sympathize with all the crap going on. Every company. I mean, even NSCC, like as long as they're not connected to Citadel and Melvin, it's like, okay, yeah, you guys are worried about going bankrupt. I get it. And Robinhood's like, oh, crap, but I cannot, I might be able to sympathize. Like, I'm sorry you guys got screwed here, but I can't be an apologist for them, even though I'm sponsored by Robinhood. I have removed those links, by the way, from my recent videos. So you can't even see those links right now. But the point is, even though it's sponsored by Robinhood, I can't be an apologist for them. I can't come out and go, dude, everything's okay. Everything's okay. No, it's fine. It's fine. It's not. Robinhood, your communication was a problem. You made people for 3 days, okay? Well, it's actually the evening of the 27th, the day of the 28th, the day of the 29th, the day of the 30th. I'm sorry, 4 days, because you sent out the email on the evening of the 27th. I know that because I was playing Rust in the middle of the night, and one of the people I was playing Rust is like, I just got an email that positions are going to be close only. So I felt very much a part of what happened. Bottom line, Robinhood, you got screwed by the man, okay? You got screwed by the suits. You didn't communicate properly to us. Hopefully, this discussion with Elon is empowering to prove to you, Robinhood, that it is okay to speak to your people. It is okay to come in front of your audience and say, look, we had a gun to our head. It is okay to do that. You don't have to be scared to talk to us. I have to say, that's Biden says this, and this is not, look, y'all know me. I'm like the most in the middle dude there is. Find me one channel that's more in the middle than this channel. Anyway, the thing is, Biden says, look, whether it's good news or bad news, we're going to tell it to you. I appreciate anybody telling me that. And I would want Robinhood to do the same. I don't want to be fed a line of bull crap that's scripted by your attorney, because it's going to show. It's going to come through like you're hiding something, and it's going to smell like poop. And nobody wants to smell like poop. Okay, folks. Hopefully that helped you. I sold my Dogecoin. I did sell that. Let me give you a quick, I want to show you one more thing. Don't leave, okay? Watch this. Hold on. This is really cool. Hold on. Let me show you this. Can I do this? How do I turn this on? Hold on 1 sec, okay? Look, I'm in the garage. With the little Tesla in the back. Hold on. Look what I got to unbox. Look at what you all sent me. Look at this. I got to one day actually sit down and unbox this stuff. Thank you. These are the fans. These are you guys who sent me this. I have a broken, taped up set of headphones over yonder. And look at these. Look at these. Have you seen these gaming headphones I have? Look at this, please. Please, look at this, okay? I don't spend money on this crap. Look at this. It is literally falling apart, okay? I'm going in too far. We're going in too far. Go back. Go back. Sorry, that's my employee. Actually, I don't have an employee. That's just me using this little Canon remote controller that I have on the desk. Anyway, I love all of you, and hopefully I don't sound too rambly. I had a little bit of apple juice and a little bit of Don't Sue Me Bro coffee, okay? Now, the problem with this set is I don't actually have a way to stop this live stream other than getting up again. So I guess I appreciate y'all being here, and look at the Tesla. We'll see you later.